Teoscar Hernandez could be on the trade block. Ken Rosenthal putting out a story here that his name is coming up in trade conversations, and he certainly is not a good defender, and they're trying to figure out what the future looks like. We talked a lot about this on Fair Territory, so if you want to click that later on, you can go for it. I added to the theory here, AJ. Dodgers have watched Teo struggle in the outfield. They love the bat, or at least you really like the bat. I think that he needs to be getting significant DH time at this point in his career with the way that he plays defense in the outfield. You can't do that in LA. So it seems like the best fit for him could be somewhere else. What do you think?
Yeah, except they really like him as a guy too. Like we heard Buck
Same.
talk about that. I mean, they really like him as a guy, but yeah, he needs to almost be a DH. We saw his defense come into play a few times in the postseason and almost cost the Dodgers some games. So would they be able to find somebody better? Would this open it up for what everyone is saying would be a Kyle Tucker move to right field? I don't know. But if they can move him, then it brings in other options they can do. Teams would take him, but would they take him as a DH and would Teo want to do that? I don't know. But yes, I agree, Scott. He's probably better off suited right now as a DH, and the man can still hit. So let's not forget the man can still hit.
Yeah, I love Teo.
I'm just going to say he's better. I think he's better suited as a left fielder. I don't think his days in the outfield are done, in my opinion. I get it. I saw the same drop fly balls. I saw, some missed routes that game in Colorado where he didn't call them off. Yes, I get that. But I don't see the Dodgers giving him 3 years, $66 million. I know there's some team investing options at the end of that, but I don't see them doing that last year thinking, I hope we can slide by, or he regressed so much. I don't think they're that far off of it. Now, what AJ alluded to, if they're in the Tucker sweepstakes, yes, I could see them packaging him with a prospect, because at DH, I don't think he's giving a team enough value to say, yeah, we'll take on the $22 million a year. We'll take on the $44 million that's left because, he had a down offensive year. Could he have a big bounce back year? Absolutely. I still think it's in there, and he's an amazing dude. I just think his shift to left field would be more beneficial for the Dodgers long term because there's a lot of dudes that just kept the ball in front in left field. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm saying he gives you enough, and your DH spot is locked up forever. So I don't see that. I don't see him getting moved yet.
All right, $12 million in 2026, $14.5 million in 2027, $8 million deferred each season, and then there's either a buyout of $6.5 million or $15 million club option for 2028. So there's still some significant money, not crazy money though. And here's the thing: this particular market is lacking bats like Teoscar Hernandez. It is. No? Tell me how many bats are like him.
I'm telling you what somebody's going to pay for what he did. Like, just think about his platform year and what he got in free agency. Now think about this past season as his platform year. Look at his numbers and tell me what a team is going to give the Dodgers for that.
You're saying they're not going to get a lot for him?
I just don't see it. Right. I don't see a team.
That's okay. Hold up. I don't know. AJ, do you think the Dodgers are floating this out to try and get a significant haul, or because they're trying to make the pieces fit better?
And they also can clear some money to maybe try and go get somebody else, which the Dodgers, listen, say what you want. I don't think it has anything to do with the prospect haul. If they could get Eric Kratz and AJ Pierzynski for Teo Hernandez, they would probably do it right now just to get the money off the books and make it fit the pieces better. So I don't think it's about a prospect haul or not. I just think it's about, hey, does somebody want to take him off our hands? He's still a pretty good player. We like him. And then we can make maybe our team better with another player they can bring in or two.
Yeah. To me, Kratz, right-handed hitting, power, can play some outfield. I mean, for me right now, like,
it's big hits, and he gets big hits. He's always been better. All right, our runners in scoring position and big moments. He seems like he steps his game up big time.
Remember when we talked about the Grayson Rodriguez trade and they pick up Taylor Ward, and part of the write-up there from Ken and others was how there aren't many bats even like that. And this is a better bat in Teo. It's a worse glove. But I do think there aren't a ton of those out there on the market right now. I mean, it's sure, is Pete Alonso that guy? Yeah, but that's a different position and he's going to cost you significantly more money. And Teo might be able to give you somewhat similar production there. So I get what you're saying too, Kratz. It's weird. Like, I feel as if Teo is such a Dodger and he's so mixed in with that whole group, and the roster fit's just weird. He's 33 years old. Like, do you really want him manning the outfield full time? He's never going to DH for them. Never.
Is it? But who? I mean, right now, Taylor Ward, they sold him high, so they're convinced, or the Orioles are convinced, they're getting a guy who's going to hit 36 home runs again, who's going to hit. He had a better year than Teo. At the plate, he had a better year than Teo. Is he a better hitter than him? I think they both strike out a lot. I think they both can be super streaky, and when they're on their streaks, there's not a lot of contact going on. But I think Taylor, in my opinion, obviously, if they go and get Kyle Tucker type, and I don't think the Dodgers are looking to get rid of money either, though. To me, I think Teo in left field is better than what they tried to pay. They tried to pay Conforto 18 or 20 million last year to play left field. It didn't work. You can pay Teo whatever you have to pay him. I know there's a lot of deferred and all that stuff, so I don't know how much is actually getting paid for this season on the books to play left field for you, and you still keep a guy who you just signed to a 3-year contract, and I don't think he's that awful in the outfield. I think you have to rein it in. He plays super deep. That's why he's not getting to balls that fans think he should get to. That's why he's running in hard on his heels, and he drops that ball in the playoffs. Like, he gets a lot of flack for it, but you also got to remember who was playing right field before. Their Gold Glove shortstop was winning a Gold Glove in right field. So I think they're a little jaded saying, well, we need an upgrade in right field. Yes, but I don't think that means Teoscar Hernandez needs to leave the Dodgers. I think he just needs a shift to left field.
Okay, so you're good playing him every day on the Dodgers in the outfield. Okay, because that's the only option, right? If you think
that's why they signed him.
I mean, he's 33. If it gets worse though, he's at the bottom right now, right? So for right field, I don't have the left field numbers, and obviously he didn't play left field, but right field last year, 33rd out of 36 players, and now it's above average at -9. Right. So there's not much room after that. Like, it starts to become a liability. And for me, eye test wise, it's burned in my brain. There are certain memories of moments where you're like, damn, that could have gone sideways and cost them a lot.
Okay. But it's burned in your brain that Aaron Judge dropped that fly ball in the World Series. Aaron Judge had no errors going in. I
watch Judge every day. That's so different. That is one brutal play at the worst time, but for me, there's a lot of those. If you're watching him consistently, like, there are a lot of brain fart plays, and as it is, like, you have those plus the floor is low. The floor for Judge is super high, right? Like, you're getting good plays, you're getting good coverage out there. For him, the floor is low, and then you get the botched plays. I'm sorry, I'm being critical here. I love the guy, I love the bat, but I just think that he should be in more of the Yordan Alvarez mix, right? Yordan, when he's healthy, was 1/3 outfield-ish from what I remember, and then 2/3 DH. And I think Teo's good enough to do that. And I think, AJ, well, if Kratz, you want to bite back first, he'll be a better hitter if he's able to do that.
I think there's still value there because, and this is just a complete, just outsider looking in. The Dodgers knew they never had any DH spots for Teo, and they still did this contract. It wasn't because, wow, man, we're coming off the high of the World Series and he did so good this year. They evaluated what they had, and I just don't believe in the 1-year regression, the fact that now we got to get rid of him. I think the Dodgers looked ahead and planned ahead enough that they don't have to get rid of him in this season.
Okay. Well, you better get rid of him now, because if it goes another season, you're definitely not going to be able to get rid of him. So strike now. If he has a bounce back. Okay.
Not defensively. Not defensively.
That's not the thing. The Dodgers need him to be better defensively. We're not talking offensively. We're talking defensively. They're not bringing back Michael Conforto. Okay.
Nope.
They brought back Miggy Rowe for his utility and the fact. Plus, they'll have a healthy Edman. They think they can play the outfield. They still have Pies, right? They'll find some guys. And they're going to go out and get somebody. whoever that is, they're going to go get somebody to help them in the outfield. And if they have to trade Teo, I would do it now. I wouldn't wait another year because his defense, as you get older, usually doesn't get better. It usually slowly goes the other way. And his, it went pretty quickly.
And they're better with Pajes and Wright.
True.
Better with Pajes and Wright and Edman in center?
Yes.
No, I would put Edman in the infield and trade for Buxton or somebody like that.
I mean, this isn't Roto world. We're not just getting everybody that you want. I know it's the Dodgers.
I thought the Dodgers get whoever they want.
No, they pay for everybody thinks they pay for everybody. The reality
also,
is
by the way,
I
understand, but I traded a player and I acquired a player. I didn't do that much, and it's not like I spent $1 billion doing it. I traded for a player who's on the block. I traded a player who is now reportedly on the block and made a quick change. That's just one of many, but I'm just using an example of how you can significantly improve your defense. If you're the Dodgers, you're still looking to get better. You won the World Series back-to-back years, but this past season, you didn't blow the competition away. Where are my flaws? That's what a team does. That's what a good team does. They say, where are my flaws? So most of the guys, they're not going anywhere. They're on long-term contracts. They're an older team position player-wise, which is fine, but they're the oldest position player team. So just throwing it out there, that's all. It's Ken's report. If you want to bother Ken at the winter meetings like AJ will, then you certainly can try and tap into him then.
I wasn't invited, so I can't come to the winter meetings, but maybe I'll.
Okay, neither was Jared Carabas, which we'll get to later. So you and Jared can talk later. We'll get into that. Anyway, Miguel Rojas, just real quick. AJ, last season, feel good story. It's cool that the Dodgers bring him back. He can play a number of positions. 1 year, $5.5 million. Biggest swing of the year for the ball club this past season. And then look at the bottom note from Fabian, who covers the team for The Athletic. Rojas is expected to assist the Dodgers front office in player development once his time as a player is done.
Wait, but I thought he was a bad guy who bullied people and did all these bad things to young players when he was in Miami. Wait, what? Oh, that's hasn't gone very well since that story came out. We'll talk about that another time. Everybody I have ever talked to says Miguel Rojas is one of the greatest people they've ever played with. So, anyways, but this is awesome. Good for him. He hit a huge home run. And by the way, when Kratz says that the Dodgers didn't fall in love with Teo because of the year before, absolutely they did. And that's one of the reasons. He also allegedly took less money to come back to the Dodgers, if you remember, because remember his agent said he was going to get offered more. Mm-hmm. Well, next, they signed Mickey Rowe. You know who's going to be back next? Kike, calling Kike, paging Kike. You'll be next. So, listen, I love this move for both sides. I love the Dodgers. I love the fact that the Dodgers have said, you know what, Miggy, we like you so much. We want you to help us in the future of the organization. This is awesome. This is what you like to see.
If you ever question what type of person somebody is, you can look at Miggy Rowe's numbers and everything on the field. If you ever question what type of person somebody is, they get offered a job in the organization to help the future of the org. That is what they think of that guy because they know how he goes about his work, because minor league development is all about how you treat the people that are coming up. So if there was ever a question, which I don't think there is, except for one person says there's a question about him, then yeah, Miggy Rowe, good for him. He gets to finish his career in LA. He's loved his time. Three-peat.
That's what he's trying to do. He's going to finish his career with the Dodgers. All right, let's get to a couple other things here quick. In Ken's notes column, he said that Tatsuya Imai, he kind of went over how the comments that he made on the Dice K podcast or whatever definitely hold merit, but he still would play with Japanese players. So he brought up, for example, the Cubs, right? So if the Cubs end up winning the bid for him, they've got Seiya Suzuki, they've got Shota Imanaga. Because he said, like, hey, I can do this on my own. Like, he can, and he's confident. But I think it more just speaks to a guy who's definitely down to do A, big market team, and B, which, of course, why is he going to rule that out? And B, it doesn't have to be the Dodgers. AJ's shaking his head. Why? Because the Cubs aren't going to pay for him?
Because his agent said, dude, shut your mouth, and you want every team involved in your bidding. That's what happened. His agent was like, why would you say that? It's like remember when Vlad was like, I won't play for the Yankees, and then it got 1 year, and he's like, oh, wait, I will actually play for the Yankees, because his agent was like, "Hey, dude, you need the Yankees in on this bidding, so let's get this much money as you can." And I mean, he probably feels the same way. Would he go to LA? Of course he'd go to LA if they're the highest bidder. But he'll go wherever is the highest bidder. Let's stop with this. There was one guy that I've seen so far in a long time that hasn't come over and taken the most money, and that was Shohei, because he wanted to be in LA. Other than that, they pretty much have all taken the most money, and that's their right. Good for them. Go get the most money.
Yeah, this guy clearly can play anywhere. That's more of what it's like. The difference I'll say is, I mean, I know it was a different situation because the money didn't really matter for Roki Sasaki since everyone could offer about the same range. I mean, everyone felt like he was going to go to the Dodgers. Tatsuya Imai is down for whatever bidder is interested. And I think a lot of people thought, oh, the Giants are probably going to spend. They need a starter. They're pretty far under the luxury tax number. Oh, wait. They are not interested in him. They're not going to play in those waters. Okay, yeah, he's interested in a bunch of different teams. He doesn't just have to take down the Dodgers. He can face the Dodgers in the World Series with the Yankees, or he could face them in the CS with the Cubs. So the one thing we did know for sure is that it sounds like his name is not going to surface during the winter meetings for a signing. That would be a surprise. He's planning on doing the little tour, visiting teams. And to me, that was the biggest news out of this notes column, because you don't know until you find out what the itinerary is. It sounds like that will start after the winter meetings. He has until January 2nd, so he's got time. But sometimes it happens during this time.
Calling Chris Getz. Let's go,
Why?
Chris Getz. Sign with get him. Get this guy to sign with the White Sox. Let's go. He says he's open to playing anywhere. Let's go. Last time they brought in a Japanese star, Tadahito Iguchi, they won the World Series. So let's go, White Sox.
I would love to see
him? Do we want to see him at the just standard places, or do we want to see Tatsuya Imai go to a place that is kind of outside the box? Because really, right now, it's the standard. Giants, I think, are still in. You know, the whole we're not spending is a posture. Giants, Dodgers, Mariners, Cubs, never the White Sox. And then you go down the East Coast of teams. Like, do we want those 8 standard teams that get the Japanese players, or do we want somebody outside the box? Do we want to see the Astros, who need a starting pitcher, to get him?
Yeah, but they're not going to, because Chandler Rome is dialed in on their payroll. You're just saying, would you like to see it? Sure, it'd be fun. I don't know. I don't have like a strong feeling of what. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun when unexpected teams get involved. I also don't think the Mariners are playing in those waters. They spent a lot of money on Naylor. They're trying to bring back Jorge Polanco. They've got a good pitching staff. I don't think they're going to play in those waters, just because he's a Japanese player and they used to bring in more Japanese players. I think
they used to dominate that market when Ichiro,
they did,
and Sasaki, and then Jojima, the catcher, went over there. I mean, they used to dominate. That was their thing. Like everybody, that was when Nintendo owned them, though. So Nintendo needs to get a Switch 3 to be able to afford some of these deals.